Part 2. Conscious Spending. Most people don't need more money. They need to spend the money they already have more wisely. In this part of the book, we uncovered a powerful truth. The way you spend is just as important as how much you earn. It's not about having more. It's about keeping more. We explored how conscious spending can help you break free from the cycle of mindless consumption and financial stress. We saw how, in many cases, spending habits are driven by impulse, emotions, and social pressures, rather than thoughtful decisions aligned with our values. You learned that budgeting isn't a restriction. It's a tool for freedom, a way to take control of your money and make it work for you rather than letting it control you. By tracking your spending and aligning it with your priorities, you're able to create a life that reflects your true goals, not the ones society tells you to pursue. We also saw how lifestyle creep can silently steal your wealth. As your income grows, your spending should not automatically grow with it. Instead of upgrading your lifestyle with every raise or bonus, conscious spending encourages you to prioritize saving and investing, securing your financial future. You learned that debt solves nothing. It only ties you to the past, preventing you from building the future you want. Getting out of debt is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward financial freedom. And finally, we discovered that living on less isn't about deprivation. It's about making room for what really matters. By saying no to temporary desires, you create space for long-term peace, security, and freedom. Conscious spending isn't about being cheap or denying yourself pleasures. It's about being intentional with your choices. It's about understanding that every dollar you spend is an investment, either in your future or in something that holds you back. When you spend consciously, you stop letting money control you. You start controlling your money, and with that control comes freedom. Chapter 7. Responsibility isn't about wealth. Many people think financial responsibility begins when you have enough. They say, once I make more, I'll get serious. But the truth is, responsibility isn't something you earn. It's something you practice, right now, with what you already have. Before he got his big break, Marcus worked as a barista. He made just enough to cover rent, groceries, and a few nights out. He wasn't careless, but he didn't plan either. His idea of money management was to check his account and hope there was still something there. When his paycheck came, it vanished quickly. By the second week, he'd be borrowing $20 from friends or skipping meals to make it to payday. He told himself it was temporary, that one day when he made real money, he'd get it together. Then came the opportunity. Marcus landed a job in tech support, double the pay. He moved into a better apartment, upgraded his phone, bought new clothes, but within 6 months, he was back in the same place, living paycheck to paycheck, stressed, behind on bills. That's when it hit him. The problem wasn't his income, it was how he treated money. He'd waited for money to fix his habits, but money only amplified them. Meanwhile, his cousin Erin earned even less. She worked as a receptionist and never made more than $35,000 a year. But Erin had systems. She tracked her spending, kept an emergency fund, and always saved a little. Even if it was just $10 a week. She didn't wait for a raise to act responsibly. She built her habits on day one. When her car broke down, Erin handled it without panic. When she wanted to visit family across the country, she booked flights with savings, not credit. She wasn't rich, but she wasn't anxious either, because she had control. Marcus finally asked her, "How do you stay so calm about money?" She smiled. "I don't wait to have more. I just take care of what I've got." That conversation changed him. He started small, tracking expenses, setting aside a little savings, saying no to things he used to buy without thinking. It wasn't easy, but it worked. And slowly, he found peace, not from earning more, but from doing better. Responsibility isn't about wealth. It's about ownership. It's choosing to manage what you have, not what you wish you had. Because if you can't handle $100, you won't magically become wise with 1,000. Responsibility is a muscle. You build it with what's in your hands today. Responsibility isn't about wealth. It's about how you use what you already have. Chapter 8. Budgets set you free. When you hear the word budget, what's your first thought? Most people picture spreadsheets, restrictions, and guilt. They think budgets mean cutting out coffee, saying no to fun, and constantly feeling deprived. To them, budgeting sounds like a financial prison. But that's a myth. A good budget isn't a cage, it's a compass. It tells your money where to go, so you don't have to wonder where it went. Before Rachel started budgeting, her money felt like sand slipping through her fingers. She had a solid job in marketing, earned decent money, and yet, by the end of each month, her account was nearly empty. Every swipe of her card came with a little jolt of anxiety. She didn't know if she could afford things. She just hoped for the best. She avoided her bank app like it was a monster under the bed, because deep down, she knew something wasn't right. "I'll get my finances together when I make more," she'd tell herself. But the raises came, and still, she struggled. One weekend, Rachel sat down and finally opened 3 months of bank statements. She was shocked. Hundreds on takeout, monthly subscriptions she didn't use, random shopping sprees that didn't even make her happy. That night, she created her first budget. It wasn't about restriction. It was about awareness. She divided her spending into 3 buckets: needs, goals, and fun. She gave every dollar a job, and for the first time, her money started working for her. At first, it was hard, saying no to impulsive purchases, choosing to cook instead of ordering out. But within weeks, the anxiety began to fade. She started saving. She paid off her smallest credit card. She even set aside money for travel, something she always thought she couldn't afford. Her friend Ben, meanwhile, refused to budget. "I don't want to live like a robot," he said. But each month he ended up borrowing money from family or racking up credit card debt. He felt stuck. Rachel didn't feel stuck anymore. She felt clear. She felt powerful. Because now, she was in control. Her budget didn't limit her. It protected her. It gave her the freedom to spend on what actually mattered, to make progress instead of guessing, to feel peace instead of panic. A budget isn't the enemy. It's a map. Without one, you're just wandering. With one, you have direction. Budgets don't trap you. Budgets set you free. Chapter 9. Lifestyle creep steals wealth. You get a raise, and almost instantly life feels tighter, not freer. The money came, but the peace didn't. Where did it go? This is lifestyle creep. It's not dramatic. It's quiet. It feels like progress until it traps you. When David got his first engineering job, he lived with 2 roommates, cooked at home, and drove an old car. He made it work. But when his salary increased, so did everything else. He moved into a trendy apartment, started dining out 4 times a week, upgraded to a luxury SUV. None of it seemed excessive, just what people do when they move up. He told himself it was deserved. That success meant comfort. But every time his paycheck grew, his costs kept pace, sometimes faster. And 2 years later, David was still living paycheck to paycheck, just with better furniture. He couldn't save. He couldn't breathe. He looked successful, but felt trapped. Then he reconnected with Amy, an old college friend. They had started in similar places, low income, big dreams. But Amy had taken a different path. She still lived in a modest apartment, still drove a reliable used car, still packed lunch. Yet Amy had built a 6-month emergency fund. She'd traveled to 5 countries, and she was investing steadily toward early retirement. David was stunned. "How did you do all this on your salary?" Amy smiled. "I never upgraded my life just because I could. Every raise went to freedom, not lifestyle." Amy wasn't depriving herself. She was intentional. She bought experiences, not status. She focused on long-term joy, not short-term image. David realized he had been feeding his ego, not his future. He thought income would fix everything, but income only helps if you hold the line. He made changes, He downsized, started saving aggressively, put limits on eating out and unnecessary purchases. And for the first time, his bank balance stopped shrinking. His anxiety dropped. His confidence grew. Lifestyle creep is dangerous because it feels normal. It doesn't ask permission. It slips into your habits, one swipe at a time. But when you pause, when you question every upgrade, when you refuse to raise your spending with your income, that's where wealth is built. Wealth isn't just about earning more. It's about keeping more, growing more, owning your choices. Lifestyle creep steals wealth unless you catch it before it grows. Chapter 10. Debt solves nothing. You feel stuck. Rent is due. Your car needs repairs. And your paycheck just won't stretch. Then comes the offer. A credit card. A loan. Get what you need now. Pay later. It feels like a lifeline, but it's not. It's a leash. Maya was 24 when she got her first credit card. She told herself she'd only use it for emergencies, but the line between emergency and inconvenience blurred fast. Groceries when the checking account was low, a weekend trip she didn't want to miss, a new laptop for work. At first, the balance was manageable. Then it wasn't. Late fees hit, interest piled up, and before she realized it, Maya owed over $9,000. Each month, she paid the minimum, barely denting the debt. She felt like she was drowning, stuck in a cycle where every purchase was a delay, not a solution. Across the city, James faced the same financial pressures. Low income, high bills, a medical emergency had wiped out his savings, and then his car broke down. But instead of turning to debt, James made painful decisions. He sold his gaming console, started biking to work, picked up weekend shifts, asked for help from family, something that hurt his pride. It was slow, it was humbling, but it worked. Within months, James stabilized. And unlike Maya, he had no debt dragging him back. When they reconnected years later, Maya was still fighting her balances. James had started saving for a down payment. Debt can feel like a solution. It isn't. It's a delay. It's tomorrow's pain disguised as today's relief. Yes, there are exceptions. Yes, some debt is strategic, like a mortgage or student loan with a clear return. But consumer debt, emotional debt, swipe now, decide later debt, that's a trap. And the real cost isn't just money. It's peace, it's sleep, it's freedom. Debt creates an illusion of progress, but it robs your future. It makes you work for things you no longer remember buying. When you borrow money, you're borrowing time. And time is life. So stop pretending it's the answer. Face the discomfort. Make the trade-offs. Find the strength to live within your means. Because until you do, your money isn't yours. It belongs to the past, to interest rates, to banks. Freedom doesn't live in credit limits. It lives in ownership. And ownership means saying no today so you can say yes tomorrow. Debt solves nothing. It only delays the truth. Chapter 11. Live on less. You think you need more money, more income, a better job, a bigger paycheck. But what if the answer isn't earning more? It's needing less. That was the shift Marcus never saw coming. In his 20s, he believed his financial problems would vanish once he made six figures. So he chased the salary, late nights, side hustles, promotions. Eventually, he made it. $110,000 a year, more than both his parents ever earned combined. But the money vanished just as fast. A luxury apartment, a new car, weekend trips to unwind. He told himself he deserved it. Then the layoffs came. Suddenly, Marcus had no income, but all the expenses stayed. Within 3 months, he was broke. Across town lived his college friend, Theo. Theo made $52,000 as a high school teacher. No side gigs, no big bonuses. But Theo lived differently. He shared an apartment. He cooked most meals. He drove a used car and wore his clothes until they wore out. When Marcus visited, he was stunned. Theo's place was small but peaceful. He wasn't stressed. He had savings. He was content. "How do you do it?" Marcus asked. "You make half what I did." Theo smiled. "I just decided what was enough, and then I built a life under it." That one sentence changed Marcus. After the layoff, he didn't just find another high-paying job. He rewrote his lifestyle: smaller apartment, fewer subscriptions, intentional spending. He learned to find joy in simplicity, to savor coffee at home, to say no to things that once felt like status. Over time, he built savings, security, peace. He realized wealth isn't about earning more. It's about keeping what you earn, and that starts with needing less. Living on less isn't deprivation. It's discipline. It's freedom. It means building a life that can survive storms. It means saying, "I don't need that," and meaning it. It means understanding that true richness comes from margin, not material, because no amount of income will ever be enough if your needs keep growing with it. But when you master the art of less, you unlock the freedom to choose. Live on less, and you'll have more than you ever imagined. Chapter 12. Say no to say yes. You say yes to everything. Yes to dinners. Yes to subscriptions. Yes to buying things just to feel better. And slowly, without realizing it, you're saying no to your future. Emma was the go-to friend. Always available, always generous. She picked up the tab, donated to every fundraiser, and never turned down an invitation. She also had no savings, no emergency fund, no time to herself. Her bank account was always on edge, even though she made decent money. The truth? She didn't know how to say no. One day her car broke down, a $1,200 repair. She didn't have it. She borrowed from her credit card, again. And that night she cried, because deep down she knew. She wasn't just broke financially, she was exhausted emotionally. Across the hall lived Nina. Same income, same job, different story. Nina was known for her calm. She declined dinners if they didn't fit her budget. She skipped trends. She planned for the future. Emma once asked her, "Don't you feel bad saying no to people?" Nina smiled. "I used to, but every no I say to others is a yes to something I really value. Peace, security, my future." That answer stunned Emma. She realized her yeses weren't coming from abundance. They were coming from fear. Fear of missing out, fear of seeming selfish, fear of rejection. But saying yes to everything meant saying no to herself, to her stability, to her goals. So Emma changed, slowly. She started by canceling 2 subscriptions she barely used. Then she stopped covering friends' meals just to be nice. She created a rule. If something didn't align with her priorities, it got a polite no. At first, it was hard. Some people didn't understand. But over time, she felt lighter. Her savings grew, her stress shrank, and she began to trust herself again. You don't have to say yes to everything. In fact, you can't. Every yes is a trade-off, and if you're not careful, you'll trade your future for someone else's comfort. Saying no isn't rejection. It's redirection. It's clarity. It's control. Because when you say no to the things that drain you, you make space to say yes to what truly matters. Say no to say yes. That's how you build a life that lasts.